Choose a comfortable seated position. If you are new to flow classes, unlike beginners where maybe we take a turn, we're here for a little bit longer, this one we're not going to be seated for very long. I like to get us moving pretty sharpish in this class. But for now, use this time to gather yourself. Ideally, getting your skull stacked atop your shoulders and atop the pelvis. The cross-legged position doesn't need to be anything fancy at this point, so if you're forcing yourself into half lotus, it's highly unnecessary. Choose something steady and reliable rather than anything fancy. As you make decisions as you move through this class, you will notice with many of the poses you will reach a choice point. And every time we get to that, you are being invited to be very honest with yourself and to practice both acceptance and compassion at the same time. And that's a big deal. So choosing what you need rather than choosing either what I am doing or what it feels like anyone else might be doing. And now that we're practicing online, it's much easier to make those choices, I feel, because we're not in the studio space seeing the person next to us and the person next to us and feeling that sense of competition. But at the same time, that also means there's a slight loss of accountability. Maybe you would have been inspired by those around you and pressed that little bit further, still within your safe limits. So we enter this really interesting spectrum where practice has changed. So as you make decisions today, make them based on what you feel you need, whilst honoring that it's really easy to kind of slip into the shadows and just sort of sit having a cup of tea. Which, yeah, I mean, if we're going to do that, let me know now and I'll join you in. Shift onto all fours. I told you we weren't going to be here for very long. So from your all fours position, start to do a little bit of cat arches. So you can do this either fingers pointing forwards or fingers pointing outwards. Outwards is going to be less pressure on your wrists, giving them a bit of time to warm up. If you're new to cat arches, exhale to tuck tailbone down and round into the back, pushing the floor away. Inhale, point the sit bones up, lift the skull, rib cages lowering down. Now as you work these cat arches, so exhaling to round the mid back up, inhaling to scoop the head and sit bones up, we're going to start to add in some details. Now obviously, I was mentioning, you're kind of choosing what will work. If you're new to cat arches, it might be enough of a revelation for your spine to be doing a bit of movement. If you want a wee bit more, feel for moving the pelvis first and letting it ripple through the low spine, mid spine to the neck, so that you are creating a change in the time that things are working. If that articulation level doesn't feel like it's working for you, so maybe if your low back is grounded, that's not the best thing for you to start with today, then focus on a dynamic through the arms. When doing the inhale part, lifting the chest and lifting the sit bones, squeeze the hands towards your legs. When doing the exhale rounding, push with the hands and feel for using that to help lengthen through the mid back in particular. This will also help create a wee bit of shoulder blade awareness. Next time you inhale, come into more of a tabletop position, neutral, and then turn the fingers outwards and then backwards. If this is a lot for the wrist, because it can be, walk the knees a bit closer so it'll take the pressure off your wrist bones. Hypermobiles, take a bend in the elbows. Even if you're not hypermobile, if they're straight, go ahead and bend them. Grip the floor with your fingertips and press down through the base of your fingers. Now, it is personal preference whether your feet are flat or your toes are tucked. I'm still working with a wee bit of a tweaky knee, so toes tucked is actually better for me at this point. Exhale, start to move your hips back towards your heels. So doing that little sit back, ideally without rounding the low back. So there may not be much movement. So if you're thinking like, hang on, I'm not going anywhere. Yep, forearms, wrists, all of those things can be immensely tight. It takes a long time for there to be a lot of movement there. So if you're already like, oh, this whole class is going to be about this, not so. Inhale, shift forwards, turn hands forwards and inwards. So this is kind of our standard wrist warm up for flow. So fingers are turning inwards. There won't be a huge range of motion with that. As you do this, shift forwards and work the arms straight-ish, so they're not locked, but they are pretty straight. Lift between your shoulder blades and lift the skull. Exhale, sitting back, but staying in this somewhat protracted shoulder blade position, so you're not slumping. Really lift up. I like this one because every time I do it, I feel a little bit like a gorilla, but you know, whatever floats your boat. I'm up for that in the morning. Inhale, shift forwards, turning the hands back to face forwards. Actively spread the hands and have the index finger tracking forwards. Grip the floor with your fingertips so you notice the fingernails themselves change colour, so they're going a bit bloodless. And then press the weight into the base of your fingers. So we haven't gone anywhere yet, we're just gripping the floor. Step your right leg straight back, so noticing that you're already getting the hips lowering a little bit. And then step the left leg back also. So this is plank. Inhale, push the floor away from you. And if you notice my head is a little bit dropped here, go ahead and lift the skull and look forwards. This is going to give you a really good positioning for your head and neck, but slightly tuck the chin. So it's not a really overzealous look. The back of the neck is lengthened. Deep breath in. If you need to set your knees down, you're welcome to do so. Exhale, bend the elbows, shoulders away from the ears, as you lower down to the abdomen. And once you're down on the abdomen, take your right arm out to the right so the elbow is bent 90 degrees. Roll your right shoulder blade up towards your ear and then almost internally rotate the shoulder, trying to get the right shoulder head on the floor. Now for some of you, that's going to feel like garbage. It might feel better to straighten the arm and turn the palm to face up. And that will automatically get that right shoulder head on the ground. Push down into your right hand, wherever it is, and then pressing through your left hand, rock onto your right hip. So doing this chest opener right at the start of practice. You might feel better to work with the neck in more of a neutral position. If you know that you're a big fan of relaxed neck, then relax the neck down. If you relax it straight down, you might not be able to breathe, and that won't be much fun. Endeavour that there's still an active press down through that right arm. Inhale, roll back onto your abdomen, switching sides. Left arm comes out to the left, either arm bent 90 degrees or straighten the arm, palm faces up. Roll that left shoulder head into the ground, and then using your right hand, rock onto the left hip. Your right arm is acting as your volume control here. Obviously, if it's a lot of stretch already, don't go as far into it. Maybe you can press a little bit more. Neck is either long or softened down so that the neck is relaxed. So you're going for a little bit of something. It doesn't need to be great big huge at this point. Or at all, really. You're not going to get to the end of your life and be like, oh my god, if only I had gone further in chest up now. Well, especially because you'd be dead, so you wouldn't really be having that narrative. Anyway, inhale, bring yourself back onto your abdomen. Use your hands and come back up onto all fours. From tabletop, push the floor away from you. Inhale, send your right leg straight back, but spin the right toes so you point down. Now when this right leg lifts, there is a tendency that the abdomen and low spine collapses. Draw the abdomen away from the ground, so it's not a flat back, but it's not a collapsed or hinged low back. So right leg is lifted, toes point down. Take the left fingertips forwards and have the fingertips on the floor. So you've still got the support of that hand. That may be where you stay. Alternatively, reach the left arm straight ahead. Inhale, stretch the ribcage towards the front of the mat. Exhale, reach that right hand towards the back of the mat. So this is static. If you do some of the forest yoga classes with me, one of the things they don't necessarily do is static core work. There's a lot of very breath-based, like inhale, move here, exhale, do this, but there's no real static abdominals. So this might be why this may feel challenging. Now that right leg, bend the leg so the heel points up towards the ceiling and press the heel up. If your low back is collapsed, pull the abdomen away from the floor. So this is an additional challenge, you better believe it is. Inhale, release the hand and the knee down. Okay, yeah, it's hard work. Inhale, press the floor away. Send the left leg back and point the left toes down. Now, wrist sensitive, any pose that you're doing on your hands can be done on the elbows. Obviously, the angles are different, So if you know that that left wrist is growly, it might mean that you are down here working the plank in that line versus being up here. Take the right fingertips forwards once you feel steady. And if you feel steadier still, right arm can reach forwards. Inhale, scoop the chest towards the front of the mat. Exhale, reach back through your left heel, but the leg is straight. All right, now draw the abdomen away from the floor. Now with this, if you're looking down, think about your positioning for plank. Look a little forwards and get the support and the lift in the upper back. Stage 2, exhale, bend your left leg. Leg is bent about 90 degrees. Press the left heel upwards to start to fire up those buttock muscles. Now there's a reason this is in here. Now I always tell you in classes, this is here for a reason and you will see why eventually. Hopefully. If we get there, I usually struggle to get there in a 45-minute class, let's be honest. Inhale, bring the hand and the knee down. From this place, cross the ankles. Now this won't work for everybody. You might be able to cross the ankles and press back, otherwise swing the legs around. So you're doing this for more of a cross-legged seated position. So you're finding what way will help you get there. Take the feet forwards, legs are bent about a 90-degree angle. Start to walk the feet back. For the sake of comparison, lift right up onto your sit bones. This is not going to be your location. Rock so you're almost on the flat of the sacrum, not quite the lower back, but almost. And then lift so you are just behind the sit bones. Bring one leg up and then the other. Now back sensitive, you might find fingertips behind you gives you better support here. And I strongly recommend it because it will assist in that lift through the low back. Hip flexor growly, hands on the thighs will help you pull to use your lats to come up a wee bit more, maybe taking the pressure off of the hip flexors. Now here we are in another static abdominal. Stronger day, release the arms. Stronger day still, you are gradually working on straightening the legs. It doesn't need to straighten, we have done very little hamstring preparation yet, but we'll see. From this place, whether you are hands behind, whether you're holding your legs, whether your arms are forwards, inhale to begin to open this up. So we've gone from like soup bowl to pasta plate, ideally on the same bit of the pelvis. Hands behind people, you can still work with your hands behind you. This will still challenge you. Exhale, tuck, lift the chest up. Inhale, open that back up, so you're opening out into that plane. Now from this place, obviously if your hands are behind you, you keep them there. Stronger day, take the arms overhead. This is much, much, much stronger. If that's too strong, go for arms out to the side, see if that makes a difference for you. Take a deep breath in, exhale, bend the legs and lower down, getting ready for bridge. Set the feet hip distance apart and parallel. At this point, if you know that you like to do bridge with a block at the inner thighs, you're very welcome to do that. Shoulders are down away from your ears, palms face up. Exhale, press into your feet, tuck tailbone and lift pelvis. Once you're up, focus on switching onto the inner thighs, whether you have put a block in there or not. So inner thighs are firing up. Inhale, move your breastbone towards your chin without moving your chin. It might be more comfortable for my shoulder type people to take the elbows overhead, elbows wider than shoulders and arms bent, to take this movement or at least change the position of the shoulder blade in relation to the spine. So that can be very, very useful. Take another deep breath. Exhale, lower down to your shoulders, mid-back, low back, and then set the pelvis down. Bring the knees into the chest and give the legs a bit of a squeeze. Feet are side by side rather than crossed. Take the hands to the outsides of the feet and ideally hold onto the outer edges of the feet. If that doesn't work and you're holding onto your shins, hold the thighs. It will give you a similar press, but if you can get your feet, get your feet. Inhale, press down through the top of your pelvis. So think butt down. Exhale, curl your head and shoulders up. So this should start to feel reminiscent of where we were a moment ago. At the same time, push your feet, or if you're holding your legs, push the legs towards the front of the mat to get a little extra. Focus on the compression of ribs towards thighs. So compression abdominals are almost key to a successful flow vinyasa Ashtanga practice. Without it, the poses just don't really work. The transitions get really complicated. So eventually, even if you know you don't like these, eventually you'll have to learn them. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, release the feet and send them towards the front of the mat. Now anything from roughly like a 1 o'clock towards a 3 o'clock, depending on how strong things are feeling today. Deep breath in. Exhale, tuck, pull yourself up. It might be some other shenanigan with the arms. And send the left leg forwards and open the right leg out to the side. So you might be using your arms. This pose has a couple of iterations. Initially, have your left leg forwards and open your hips towards the side of your mat. So turning towards the right. Your right foot does not need to touch your inner thigh. You're looking for an angle greater than 90 degrees if possible. And that your left sit bone is down. This might mean taking a wee bend in that left leg. This is option 1. I'm going to show you what this pose is for option 1. It will start seemingly like a twist, and then the other arm is coming over to create a side bend. This arm is creating an oppositional pull to help get the ribs up towards the ceiling. Because frequently in this pose, people go this way, touch their foot and think, job done. It's not. The other option, if your knee is happy enough with it, and that's a big if, then you're doing the same angle but in heel to butt. But the grab could be the knee for sure, but the other version of this is a little odd. I mean, let's be honest, you're probably not going to do this like on the bus. You go under yourself, fun, and over, and it creates a phenomenally different entry angle for the side bend, but both of them provide a pulling action with that other arm. So choices, either left leg forwards, well not either, that one is definitely forwards, either right foot to the inner thigh or right foot in heel to butt. If you have got the foot to the inner thigh, take the left hand to the outside of the right knee, and you might, if you're doing heel to butt, want to do the same thing for now. Do a wee pull with that so you feel your chest is facing the side of your mat. Inhale, bring the right arm up. Exhale, lean left. Think about using your obliques to create some of that as you come over into the side bend and do a pull with that left arm. If you're in the heel to butt, you're going underneath, so you need to pick your butt up a wee bit. And this has changed the angle because now your pelvis is up, so the right sit bone is off the floor, and it takes you into a much deeper position for the side bend. Now, if side bend is very challenging for you, you can still create all essential shapes working with that left leg bent. So we're saying choose your levels appropriately. The main takeaway from this pose is that it is a side bend, not that you need to do fancy convoluted things with your arms. Wherever you are, inhale, bring yourself up. There isn't really a glamorous transition between sides, it's simply change sides. So right leg is forwards, left foot is coming in. So if you're doing the foot to the inner thigh, take that right hand across to the left knee, inhale to bring the left arm up and start to lean over to the side. Okay, so you're creating the side bend. Right sit bone loves to lift up, go ahead and put it down. If you're in heel to butt, you have to do a wee butt pick up and go underneath, and the left arm is coming over. The angle is very different. One pose, both sit bones are down. Second one, the sit bones are slightly lifted. Maybe your side bend is a bent-legged side bend, even with heel to butt. It's one of the things I really enjoy about flow. There aren't really any rules in flow, although I like to think that there are. But the pose ranges can be whatever you can imagine, right? We can really start to move it into very different realms. Whereas forest yoga, just by its very nature, with a set pose list, is limited somewhat. Unless you like to get creative, which I do. Inhale, reach with that left arm, bring yourself up. Take the legs forwards for a moment. Now, you're going to be working a little bit of compression. There are going to be some choices here. Choices, the intent for today. Some of you will do this straight-legged, and as soon as you do it, you will cramp in your quadriceps and your hip flexors will give up the ghost. So maybe that's not your option. I'm going to show you the option for this. The hands are not in line with the butt. They're actually in line with the greater trochanters, and it's the heel of the hand that's there. Watch first. Inhaling to lift the chest, shoulders down. Exhale, contracting the abdomen and lifting up. Inhaling to set down. Now that can be a huge challenge. You're lifting your entire body weight. Another way that you can work this is cross-legged. You will not have to deal with as much feedback through the quadriceps. If you've never experienced a quadricep cramp from piking, The other option is to do this from cross-legged, which allows for an easier action, shoulder blades down, but making sure it doesn't go to this place. That's a very different creature. Third option is to do this kneeling. This is a little bit more accessible, but you might find that you can grip your quadriceps more. So easier, but there is potentially negative feedback that you'll get on the other side of that. Okay, choices. So either hands down, seated, legs forwards, cross-legged, or kneeling. Either way, finding the widest, boniest part of your thigh, and the hands are down roughly in front of that. The amount you have to lean forwards depends on the length of your arms. Pull your shoulders down away from your ears and lift your skull. You should look like a really keen meerkat. Deep breath in, exhale, draw the legs away from the floor and think about the abdomen scooping up into your ribs. So not quite Uddiyana, but that kind of uplift feel. Inhale, lower it down. If you didn't get much lift, consider taking your hands a wee bit forward. So think the back of the forearm is in line with the greater trochanter rather than the forearm itself, because even that's slightly too far. Deep breath in, exhale, press. This is also good to do with 2 blocks. Inhale, lower. Exhale, pull shoulders down, scoop the abdomen away from the floor. Inhale, lower. Do 3 more. So this is what I was mentioning, that compression is the key to forward bending, also forward bending safely, but also to a lot of transitions. When we start doing half salutations, there are things like jump throughs, where you jump through cross-legged, but also jumping through to straight-legged forward bends. It gets wild, folks, it gets wild. As soon as you're done with those 3 and you're thinking, oh my good golly gosh, then we'll come out of there. From there, take the hands forwards, find plank. Don't do forearm plank, so definitely plank. Exhale, pike your hips up, so think abdomen pulls away from the floor, and send the hips up and back into your first down dog of the day, potentially. If this is like class number 2, all right, maybe it's not your first one of the day. That's fine. Have a look towards the front of your mat. Inhale, lift to your tiptoes. Ideally, legs are going to stay straight. Exhale, start to press walk forwards. So you're thinking thighs and ribs are compressing towards each other. Feet are hip distance. As you walk forwards on tiptoes, hands ideally flat. I realize I said that too late. And then lower the heels and relax down. This way harder than it looks. Halfway lift. Come up onto the fingertips. Inhale, lengthen the ribs towards the front of the mat. Some of you might be on fingertips. Some of you might be doing hands down. Forward bend. Exhale. Inhale, scoop the ribs forwards and up. Come up to standing. Exhale, bring hands together at chest. Feet are hip distance, so I really like in sun salutations that hip distance is giving you a really good tracking for this mobility going forwards. Put both hands onto your thighs, so fingers are turned very slightly inwards. Deep breath in. Exhale, stick your butt out, and then fold forwards and get your ribs trapping your hands. So this is the aim. We're looking for that rib-thigh compression. It might mean your legs are bent a ton. Inhale, scoop the ribs and diaphragm towards the front of the mat. Stay with this level of compression. Exhale, stick your butt out. All right. Inhale, release the hands down, but the forward bend should be still pretty intact. Back tuki, stay here. If your back is feeling okay, exhale, bend the elbows towards the back of your mat and let it bring the rest of the back, so mid and upper back, into this forward bend. Half lift. Inhale, scoop the chest forwards. This time, same action. Exhale, come into the forward bend, but use your abdominals to draw your ribs closer to your thighs. Diaphragm is coming up. So technically in this position, coming down, but try and get that Uddiyana, diaphragm flies up feeling to help with the forward bend. Half lift. Inhale, scoop the chest forwards. Next move is chaturanga. Exhale, step or hop the feet back. Exhale, bend elbows. Remember, you can do all of these with the knees down, just be aware the angle is different. Cobra or low cobra. If you're doing low cobra, arms come forwards. If you're doing cobra, lift the chest up a bit. Don't forget to lift the skull. Downward facing dog. Exhale, tuck toes, lift knees up. Have a look towards the front of the mat. Half lift. Inhale to step or hop, feet to the hands, feet hip distance. Forward bend. Exhale. Inhale, scoop the chest forwards, come all the way up towards standing. Exhale, bring hands together at chest. With the hands together, telescope the ribs up. Shift the weight onto your left foot, deep breath in. Exhale, bow forwards and send the right heel straight back, so create this pendulum effect. Inhale, point your left sit bone down to bring your chest back up. Right foot does not quite touch the floor. Exhale, bow forwards, back sensitive, put the hands onto the leg for support. Inhale, scoop forwards and up, think left sit bone points down. Switch onto that right foot. So this is essentially like a single leg deadlift action. Left leg lifts, deep breath in. Exhale, bow forwards, get your abdomen involved in the movement. So you create that pendulum. Inhale, scoop forwards, tailbone tucks down. Inhale, exhale, fold. If you inhaled when you folded, I think you'll be okay. Inhale, come on up. All right, now using that in the forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Forward bend. Exhale, fold. Both sit bones point to the back of the room. Maybe doing the swan dive, not recommended if your back is squarely. Half lift. Inhale, scoop the chest towards the front of the mat and push the floor away. Chaturanga. Exhale, step or hop back. If you're hopping, be light. Cobra, maybe up dog. If your back is feeling happy enough to do up dog, thighs and pelvis are lifted from the mat. Downward facing dog. Exhale, tuck toes, lift knees up. Inhale, set the knees down momentarily. Inhale, send the right leg back, left arm forwards. Oh, we're still doing stuff. Bend your right leg. So like we did earlier, inhale to lift the right heel skywards without rounding the back. Turn your left thumb to point down as if you were saying, boo-hiss. Exhale, open the left arm out to the left and catch the inside of your right foot. So your thumb should still be pointing down. Inhale, press into that right foot and square the left shoulder forwards. So a challenge for stability, squeeze left shoulder blade back. Now without spring loading out of this, inhale, release the arm and the leg, left arm comes back forwards, right leg straightens. Exhale, release the hand and knee down. Inhale, reach the left leg back, bend that left leg, right arm reaches forward. So we have a moment of stability. Second side usually has a little bit of extra foresight. Exhale, turn the right thumb down, sweep the arm out to the side and catch the inside of your left foot. Inhale, press the foot up as you square the hips and shoulders forwards. Any discomfort in that left wrist, if you take it further forwards, it will change the angle. There'll be less bend into the wrist, but be aware more weight can slip into the heel of the hand. So you have to be very aware of moving the wrist from that bone stack of under the shoulder. Inhale, release that left foot and right arm. Exhale, bring the hand down. Okay, we meet a merry obstacle. You get to choose here. You're either going to repeat, which is fascinating in its own way, or you will repeat and explore a little transition. Your transition, should you wish to take it, is to find the same pose, so we'll all be here at some point, and perhaps tucking the toes and shifting into a down dog version of the same pose, which is super slippery. So if you're thinking like, oh, there's no way I could do it, I just saw the yoga teacher fall, at least try it. Like, I fall over for a living, technically. I just do it stylishly and well dressed. All right, lift the right leg. Left arm is coming back. I say well dressed. This vest is at least 6 years old. Okay, if I had a son, I would already be being proud of him, but this'll do. All right, now deep breath in. Exhale, tuck the left toes if you're navigating this one, and press the hips up. It's really freaking hard. If you're thinking like, that'll be easy. It might be a pose you have to assemble once you are in. Inhale, set the knees down. Let's see what the other side's up to. So it's elusive. That's if you're wanting to start your Instagram career, you do a freeze frame on that and you post the freeze frame. Left leg is up, push the right foot up and back. In case you wonder how pretty much every yoga teacher does it online. Deep breath in. Either stay here or tuck the right toes and start to move the hips up and back. Oh, apparently this side is super stable, that's fine. Every day is a school day, folks. Inhale, set the knees down. Now you have been chest opening and shoulder opening and doing all kinds of curious little creatures. I wonder if that's a theme. Come into downward facing dog. It probably is a theme. Triangle. Inhale, step your left foot to the center of your hands. Set the right foot so that if you drew a line from your left foot, it would go through the center of the right foot. Left hand is down, either onto the floor, the shin, the ankle, or a block. Inhale, open the right arm up. So if you know that coming into triangle from the ground doesn't work for you, you're welcome to come up and get a feel for left sit bone coming towards the right, right hip traveling very slightly forwards, and then coming into that. So reminiscent of our side bends earlier on. See how it feels. Deep breath in, exhale, turn the right palm so your thumb points to the back of the mat and squeeze the shoulder blade back and press back. I call this crowd control. If your chest twists to the ceiling, chest and collarbone stay facing to the side of the room, we're looking to really actively work that right arm. Exactly, Amy, totally. He's with you in spirit. Half moon. Don't worry about this right arm so much. Exhale, bring the right hand onto your right hip, bend the left leg, take the left fingertips about 10 inches in front of your left foot, and then about 2-3 inches over to the left. Inhale, shift the weight onto the left leg, right leg is pointing straight back. Any pinching in the hip, now that's not the same as buttock muscles frying, any pinching in the hips, you can always get a block or something under that hand which will change the angle that your torso is sitting at in relation to the ground. Inhale, lengthen the ribs towards the front of the mat. Exhale, drive that right heel to the back of the mat, still totally in half moon. You're coming into standing triangle, you've already been in triangle, so set the right foot back where it was, but this time bring yourself up completely. Inhale, reach the arms out. Exhale, bring the arms behind your back. Either hold your wrists, your elbows, or if it is possible for you, bringing the hands into a reverse prayer position. So play sensibly. So notice the arms are essentially in the same position whether you're holding the wrists, the elbows, or in reverse prayer. Nobody needs to know. Inhale, lift chest. Exhale, draw the left hip towards the right and begin to lean into this triangle pose. So this is like an arms free triangle. Engage right side oblique so you're not kind of hinging down. Stay long in that side. And hopefully the sort of murder mystery part of your brain is going, I suspect I know what's coming next. Hands free, half moon. Bend the left leg, shift the weight, and begin to lift the right leg. Chest is turning to face the side. Maybe you're doing this as a half bound half moon with the left hand down and the right arm behind the back. That would also be completely relevant. Inhale, release that right leg down, bend into your left leg as if it was warrior two and release the arms. Reverse warrior, turn your palms to face up, let the shoulders come down because they were doing a lot of work. Bring the right hand onto the right hip, thigh or lower leg as the left arm comes over. Low back sensitive, this doesn't need to be a great big huge side bend. You can focus on lifting up through the right side ribs. It may not look as fancy, but it will stop any great big huge destabilizing moves coming into your lower back, which might be appreciated. Deep breath in, chaturanga. Exhale, take the hands down either side of that left foot, step it back. Exhale, bend elbows. Cobra or up dog. Inhale, lift chest, press into the feet. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Have a look to your hands, triangle. Inhale, right foot comes forwards. Left foot is on the same line as the right. Right hand is on the floor, shin or thigh, and bring the left arm up. This pose may require you to come up into it a different way, so maybe you do the standing pose first and then ease your way into it. Inhale, lengthen the chest towards the front of the mat. Exhale, draw shoulders down. Just one of the things I really like about flow is we can repeat different iterations of the same pose kind of over and over again without breaking any rules. Half moon. Bend into the right leg. Take the right hand a few inches, I say a few, 10 inches in front of your right foot and a few inches to the right. Shift the weight onto that right foot. Left leg is reaching to the back of the room. So we're familiar with leg lifts, but we're doing this now in a rotated position, so a wee bit of a different beastie. Inhale, lift up through your left thigh. So feeling the muscles switching on there a wee bit more. Shoulders and shoulder blades down. Now inhale, land that left foot. Now we're going to come back because I forgot to do crowd control. Come back into triangle. We're going to get this bit before we access the shoulder. Turn the left thumb towards the back of the mat. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder back and palm press back. So notice it's not a rotation in the chest. You're simply trying to get that shoulder firing up because we're going to be using it like super soon, like 10 seconds. Great, now use that left arm. Inhale, bring yourself up. Now, choice time. Either holding onto wrists, elbows, or hands clasped. Inhale, telescope the ribs up. Exhale, draw the right hip towards the left and begin to lean into this Baddha Trikonasana. If you feel that you are side bending to the right, so for example, you feel your spine is curving, squeeze left side abdomen and get this so the triangle has a very long spinal position. Hypermobiles, soften that right knee. Balancing half moon. Shift the weight onto that right foot. Left leg is coming in, pelvis and chest are facing the side of the mat. So you could do this as a half bound triangle, bringing that left arm behind the back with the right hand down, maybe on a block. Now obviously with your arms kind of out of the equation, the balance is harder. Also from a mental point of view, the things that normally stop you from falling are busy. They're very busy. Reverse warrior. Step back into that long warrior two-like stance. Release the arms and turn the palms to face up. Take a wee look to that right foot. Right toes are pointing forwards. Inhale, reach that right arm up and back. Inhale, lengthen right ribs up away from your pelvis. Exhale, press into your right foot to find more strength and connection to your legs. Back tweaky, left hand can be in the left hip to provide some support. Deep breath in. Chaturanga. Exhale, set the hands down, step the feet back, bend the elbows. Cobra or up dog, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Have a look to your hands. Start to be up on your tiptoes and walk your feet towards your hands. Now, keep doing that while you hear the shoulder placement. Shoulders go above the wrists, and then in front of the wrists. And then once you get in as close as you can get, cross the ankles and start to bend the knees, thinking about the knees coming to the insides of the arms. Once they get there, you might be able to lift your feet using those compressions to slide the feet through. If you're thinking, why didn't that work? It's really hard. As techniques go, very, very challenging. Okay, look. Take your legs forwards, legs are bent, feet hip distance apart. So I know that you may not see so clearly here, but feet are hip distance apart. Take your index and middle fingers and ready them. And grab a hold of your big toes. In this position, focusing on getting ribs to thighs as your connection point. If this position feels already precarious for the back, elevate the pelvis and sit on a block. It will change the angle more in your favor to coming forwards. Inhale, pull with your arms. You need to work active feet so you're not like pulling your big toes anywhere. Pull the chest up and slide your shoulder blades down. Exhale, press the ball of the foot forwards, and this will pull you into a bit of a forward bend. So this is like a half forward bend in this instance. Navigating, maintaining this rib to thigh connection, start to work the legs a little further forwards, using that ball of the foot press to draw yourself forwards. So you're looking for like a really clean action in the arms. Inhale, lift up to do like a halfway lift. Oh look, this is almost the exact same pose that we did earlier. Take a hold of the pinky edges of your feet. So your aim is the thumbs are pointing up, pull back on the pinky edges and reach the inner arches forwards. So we're speaking to a different part, knees are hopefully pointing up. Inhale, pull with the arms. Exhale, send your forearm bones towards the ground, pulling yourself into a slightly different version of this Paschimottanasana. Maybe the feet can still walk a little further, but you're really pulling with your arms. These types of forebends are immensely frustrating if you are new to them. Inhale, lift yourself up, get that halfway lift. Take the hands over the tops of the feet so the fingers point down and slip over the ball of the foot so your fingers point towards your heels. From this place, inhale, pull with your arms. Exhale, press the ball of the foot forwards. Intermediate, well I say intermediate, you know what, the whole class will be pretty intermediate. Advanced, if you want to take this to like the nth level, you hold a block, you put it over the front, whatever height feels curious, and you press. So if you're thinking like, I do seated forebends once a week, okay, got another 10 years to go. And that block has a far away setting as well. It's very exciting when you start working that way. Inhale, bring yourself up. Oh. Reverse table. Use your hands behind you, bend your legs. Inhale, lift the hips up. If you're curious about this pose and its alternative, you can go for a straight leg version, focusing on pointing your sit bones towards the front of the mat as you lift the chest, giving a bit of a counter to the intense forward bend. This is more of a spine neutralizer than a back bend. Inhale, lower the hips down, shimmy near to the front of your mat, bring the palms to face up. I got my feet off the mat because as I roll backwards I'll lose that space. Inhale, lift chest. Exhale, curl tailbone under and feel for coming down onto the sacrum and articulate slowly enough that you can feel the low spine, mid spine, and then shoulder blade region coming down, and bring the arms down. You can either go straight into Shavasana from here, or you can do knees to chest or any other little compressions that would be good before setting up for Shavasana. So choose something, anything. It could also be nothing. You might already be fully cooked. Ideally though, have the palms facing up. So with all of that shoulder stuff, you don't want to be in a palms down, internally rotated position. Let them open up and be a bit more at ease. Begin to deepen your breath. And breathe in a way that gets both the abdomen and the ribs moving. as you get your breath deeper, allow yourself to reflect on the decisions that you made. And even ones that you feel you made incorrectly are still important learning moments. You probably learn more from them than you do about doing the right thing all the time. Take a wee bit of movement into fingers and toes and include your wrists in that, because we've done a lot of wrist work. If you're laying on your back, take a deep breath in and stretch the arms overhead. Exhale, bring the knees into your chest. Roll to your left and use your arms to come up towards seated where you are, choosing a comfortable seated position. Once you're up, press the palms together and pay particular attention to pressing into the fingertips, the base of the fingers, and then as much as possible the center of the palm, but without overloading the heel of the hand. Deep breath in. Exhale, bow forwards. Namaste.